I have ADHD, and I could not concentrate in school.
I got involved with the wrong crowd and began to make poor choices.
I failed out of school and I had nowhere to turn.
Since 1985, Advent Home Youth Services has offered hurting teens and their families a place to turn in the midst of the confusion and helplessness that often surfaces when facing the challenges of a son with ADHD, learning and behavior problems. Dr. Blondell Sr., the founder and executive director of Advent Home, remembers when he became personally aware of the tremendous need hurting families had for somewhere to turn.
One Friday afternoon, I was in my office around 3 p.m. and the phone rang, and they were telling me that last night their son got arrested. He was caught with marijuana. He's 14 years old. So that night at family worship, I was telling my family about it, and my 14-year-old daughter said, "Daddy, you design programs for the government. Why don't you design a program for these kids?" It made sense to me. A residential treatment program for these kids. Bring the kids to us and we'll be able to help them. So I searched for 18 months, rode up and down the streets and avenues trying to find a vacant house. So I went over and here was this small 4-bedroom home for rent, and I rented it. We were operating for 2.5 years in St. Petersburg. We rented the new house in Zellwood, Florida.
So we were glad for this opportunity to go to the country. It did, however, raise our rent triple, and that was one of our problems.
So I decided that I'll have to find some land where we could get a permanent home and not be a tenant. One day I was in New Orleans, and in front of me was an old man who was telling that he has a ranch that he would like to turn into a youth ranch. And so one day when I was flying through Atlanta, I got off a plane, rented a car, and drove up to Tennessee and found the property, the current property. And as I came to the entrance of her property, just like the Holy Spirit says, "This is it."
In the past 20 years of operation, Advent Home has established itself as a place for transformation in the lives of today's troubled teenage boys.
I think now I'm not really too afraid to admit my problems, and I am more open when I'm communicating.
I realized that hanging out with negative influences, it's not going to get me nowhere. And I might as well just either stick to myself or make positive friends.
Came to Advent Home. They have totally opposite ways of teaching from the previous schools I've been at. Lots more help for me, let me do what I need to do. Make sure that I learn information instead of just going on.
I got baptized in July, and I've made a choice to follow Christ.
The positive changes in these young men's lives are a result of their willingness to accept the program, but also the hard work and dedication of the Advent Home staff and the cooperation and commitment of their parents.
I think that one of Jamie's biggest things has been wanting to fit in.
Everything that happened that brought us here, it ended up allowing us to help Gregor sort himself out and heal, and it's helping us sort out some of our family issues, our divorce.
It's helped Jamie in an individual way that I couldn't provide for him at home.
It's a place we come to and watch Gregor grow and change and start sorting out the problems that we haven't been able to deal with in the past.
And it's hard to believe we're almost at the end of the road, almost a month, and he'll be home and then moving off to boarding school. This is an opportunity he's been waiting for a long time, and I'm very proud of his achievements while he's been here.
The measurement of growth in the Advent Home program is a set of behavioral objectives created by Dr. Blondell Sr. called Maturation Therapy. The Maturation Therapy program creates a structure in the student's life that may not have been in place before. This structure is seen throughout the group home, school, and work environments.
The best way for a student to get through Advent Home successfully and quickly is to follow the objectives that was given in the guidelines. As a new student, most students come in and they're very quiet, but not Jamie. Jamie came in full steam ahead. He began to learn the program, and not just learn the program, he had his own inventive ways of getting things done. And I think Jamie's going to be one of those who will do well if he uses that talent that he has of being a leader.
Well, our day starts with a flag ceremony.
Present! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
The kids line up and have the flag ceremony outside, and I think it teaches them the respect of their country, which is, very important. And then we come in and have a song service with worship.
Because he's given.
They break off into Bible first period, and they come for the senior high. And the junior high comes into my classroom for U.S. history and English. It's an integrated class. And then at 1 o'clock they are dismissed for lunch. We bring them back for tutoring between the hours of 2 and 5. At times, for disciplinary reasons, they come in during their recreation time to do more tutoring. The tutoring is used as a guide to help us judge who is behind in work or needs just that little extra instruction that they're just not getting in a holistic classroom, or if it's self-paced, they can get that one-on-one with the teacher.
What we do here basically is a garden area that's taken care of in the early spring. They get involved in that with planting and cultivation of that. Here in the greenhouse, we also do propagation. We are planning on setting this up so we have about 15,000 plants here in this greenhouse. The boys are deeply involved in this. They are involved in filling the pots full of bark and making cuttings, planting those cuttings, and continuing on with the process. The boys here at Advent Home come in with very low work ethics. I remember a boy here that came that at first he told me right down in the garden, he says, I'm not going to work. I don't enjoy working. I'm not going to work for you. Over the last 3 or 4 months as I've worked with this boy, he's become more or less my right-hand man. I can almost depend on him. His attitudes have changed. He feels more self-confident in himself and his work ethics.
Advent Home exists because of a need that was seen in the lives of hurting families. So much has been done to create a place where young men can experience lifelong changes, and yet there is still so much to do.
Every day I see results. I see boys who do turn their lives around. Boys who have made a good choice and have been able to leave here with full graduation.
I know God's going to help me, and I'm going to prove that my behavior has changed a lot, and that I've actually learned from Advent Home.
It just finally hit me that I just need to start changing.
For any person who might have the kinds of struggles that my wife and I did with their boy, Advent Home is not only something I would recommend, it's something I would say that if you can get your boy in there, it's probably going to be the greatest thing you can ever do for this boy.
There are many ways that you can contribute to Advent Home. You can donate building material, equipment, and labor for construction, sponsor a child, pray for the continued success of our program, donate stocks, security, and property deeds, invest in youth by donating gifts in honor of a loved one. Remember Advent Home in your will. These are all ways that you can help us continue the ministry of Advent Home as we reach out to hurting families.